I feel very, very hungry for success. And I just know that I have an opportunity that comes once in your life, and I just want to make the most out of it.
Hello, and welcome along to a new season of Beyond the Grid. Season 4, would you believe it? My name's Tom Clarkson, and as usual, this season I'll be making it my mission to bring you in-depth, feature-length conversations with the biggest names in Formula One. I have some cracking guests lined up already, and they don't get much bigger than this week's guest, Sergio Perez.
A magical moment in the incredible career of Sergio Perez, who has been on the podium 9 times before, but never on the top step. He's about to correct that because he's come to the final corner. This is really happening. Sergio Perez wins the Grand Prix in Sakhir.
Yes, Checo, P1. Yes.
Good guys finish first.
Yes, after a rollercoaster last 12 months that featured that maiden win in Sakhir, Checo is square in the spotlight after his blockbuster move to Red Bull Racing, where he'll partner Max Verstappen. It's a massive move for the Mexican, and on the evidence of pre-season testing in Bahrain last week, Red Bull could be the team to beat when we go racing for the first time at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And who would have predicted that Checo would be sitting in a potential title-winning car just 6 months ago? Indeed, back in July, he was on a real low, having been the first F1 driver to contract COVID-19. The virus forced him to miss 2 races, during which time speculation grew that he was about to be ousted at Racing Point, the team he helped to save in 2018. Those fears did of course prove true, and he was replaced by Sebastian Vettel, yet he persevered and he rebounded, not just with that win at Sakhir, but by securing a dream seat in Formula One. And as you'll hear later, it was indeed a dream. As we chatted in Bahrain on the final day of pre-season testing, Checo was in fine fettle, looking extremely fit and relaxed. In fact, let me go further. This is the most upbeat and confident I've ever heard Checo Perez in his 10-year Formula One career. We chatted about lots of different things. There was some fascinating insight into his new team, his new teammate Max Verstappen, and some great anecdotes about Adrian Newey, Christian Horner, and Helmut Marko. There's also some very candid chat about when he had COVID. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Well, Checo, it's lovely to see you. New colours this year. We're speaking in Bahrain testing, and you're fastest on the final morning. It's all pretty exciting, isn't it?
Well, no, it's just testing. You don't get carried away. You don't know what others are doing, and I just know that there is a lot of work to be done ahead. I still have the need for more time in the car, but it's certainly a good start. It's only a day and a half. But if you consider the amount of test items we do on a test day, it's definitely a disadvantage for the drivers that are changing teams, and advantage for the people that are staying. But it's just part of the game as well.
Part of the game, but I'm going to get excited for you because I think it's looking really good. The word on the Bahrain street is that Red Bull have taken a step forward. How does the car feel?
Yeah, the car feels good. Just keeps getting better and better every time I jump in. It's been good to get to know it and just work our way through it. I think the car is pretty good, has good potential, but there is still a lot of work and development to be done and to be had in the races in the coming months. I always say it's not so important where you start in Bahrain, it's where you finish in Abu Dhabi.
It is true. But have you found a rhythm? Are you comfortable in it?
I'm comfortable, but I just know that I'm not like super together with the car yet. I know that there's still areas to improve, but I'm also very patient for it. It will be the wrong approach to try to be ready for race one and then get frustrated with it. I need to take my time and things will come to us.
Is that an age thing? Would Checo of 10 years ago when you came into Formula One, would he have had that same approach, or is this the sort of more mature approach?
No, I think it has to do with experience. Through the years, I know that if I come here in race 1 and race 3 or 4, and I'm off the pace, I just know that it's a matter of time. It's a matter of understanding things, of learning things, and I've been through so much that I know my capacity, my ability, and I should be able to deliver when it matters. So it's just a matter of time, and for that, it's not gonna come easy. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of work to be done, but as long as we put that work in, that development together with the team, we definitely can make it.
Because you've only done 1.5 days in this car, can we just make a comparison to last year's Racing Point?
The car setup, the car mechanically, it's totally different to Racing Point.
So you're finding the time in different parts of the corner, in different parts of the race.
You just find the time very differently, in different ways. The driving that the car requires is very different to the driving of the Racing Point. So yeah.
And are you having to set it up differently?
I mean, they work so different. Their suspensions are totally different. Their mechanical balances, the difference in aerodynamics as well. So yeah, pretty different everything.
Now, you're a guy who appreciates the history of Formula One. First time you've been working with Adrian Newey, bit of a legend in his own lifetime. How much are you enjoying that?
No, a lot, because you can spend good time with him because he's obviously a very clever guy, but it's also a racing driver. He's like, when you talk to him, you're feeling that you are speaking to a racing driver that has just driven the car, and it's like in a way talking to Max, because he knows what's going on, he knows what's happening with the car, he knows what tools you can use, and that's pretty impressive, to be honest, from Adrian, what I found from him, and the speed to do things is also extremely impressive.
Everyone talks about his ferocious competitiveness. Drivers are competitive, that's a given, right? But Adrian is just like you. I mean, is that come across in him as well?
It's just what I said, that he is such a competitive guy, such a he's a pure racer, racing driver. He really wants to make this work.
And he's been, obviously he's an aerodynamic genius, but and he's designed racing cars, but he's also been a race engineer as well. So he there's not an area of it that he doesn't understand.
Exactly. I think that he has been through so much in his career, through different phases. He also drives cars,
Have you seen his car collection, by the way? He's got an amazing car collection.
He does. He does. I haven't seen it. I look forward to that. But I just heard from Christian that he is also a racing driver. Once I took him to Silverstone to test, and he's 100% fearless. It was a bit damp into I think it was Cops, and he definitely tried to go through it flat. And the car was like moving around, and he's just a very confident race driver.
Yeah. Complete fearlessness is probably not a great thing, is it? In a racing driver, you need a little bit of self-preservation.
Yeah. Well, he must trust a lot his driving capacities.
True, that is true. Now look, this is your first team move in 7 years. Does it feel slightly odd to be learning a new environment, or are you quite invigorated by that?
It feels it definitely feels weird, because you've been for 7 years with the same people working with, and it is a change, but a change that I've enjoyed a lot. I've come to a great team. The team has welcomed me massively, and it's been very enjoyable experience to work with this group of people.
And is it very different to what you've experienced before, or is the DNA of all racing teams roughly the same?
Red Bull, it's a very big team, and you can see the passion in it for winning. Everyone that works here, their mindset is just about winning. Winning is everything. And when I was at the Racing Point, it was a bit different, because we didn't have such a team, such a car underneath us. So just the mindset is different, because you are there to maximize your result. But here, maximize your result means winning. And that's something pretty good, and everyone is very highly motivated. But at the end of the day, still it's a Formula One team. Everyone, it's under a lot of pressure. Everyone is looking to deliver from day one, and it's a pretty big organization as well. Just to find things, it's a bit harder, because I felt that at my previous teams things were a bit smaller, and it was easier to find the right guy for certain things. And here it's like so big. It's a bit different in that regard. But overall, I have to thank the team in general, because they've been tremendously nice to all of my team.
And of course, it's early days, but can you see why Red Bull have had the level of success that they have?
Oh yeah, since I went to Milton Keynes for the first time, you realize why they've been so successful and why it's just a matter of time they are back to winning world championships again.
Go on then. So when you went to Milton Keynes for the first time, when was that?
I went very early in January. Must be the first days of January.
Okay, so because you were announced as a Red Bull driver on the 18th of December, and I did want to ask you, how long before that did you know that you'd got the gig?
As you say, everything happened pretty late in the year. So I was announced on the 18th of December.
It was the Friday, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the Friday after the season. And yeah, after that, it was just a non-stop, I went straight into training. I went straight into, I think, 2 weeks after that. I was at Milton Keynes, doing my seat, working with the team and so on. So it was pretty exciting times.
And you're looking incredibly fit. Has Red Bull given you sort of new motivation? Do you feel more hungry than ever?
Yeah, definitely. I feel very, very hungry for success. And I just know that I have an opportunity that comes once in your life, and I just want to make the most out of it.
Do you still have to pinch yourself? You've now done 1.5 days in the car, but are there moments when you still think, is this actually happening? Am I really here?
Yeah, to be honest, there are a couple of times that I think, well, because it's Red Bull and it's a team that when I came into Formula One, it was like, that you cannot go into Red Bull. It's the only team that has their program and so on. So it's a great brand. I always admire the brand. I always admire the race team, what they've done. But yeah, when I see my name in that car, when I put the suit on and when I work here, it's just something that I think, wow, it's just real. I'm a Red Bull racing driver, and it's just a massive opportunity in my career that comes at the best possible time,
I can't believe that winter testing has come round so soon, can you? In just a couple of weeks, we'll be back in the thick of it with our first race of the season. And before you know it, summer's going to be here. And if you're looking ahead to those days and want to feel like you're making progress towards your next holiday, whenever that may be, why not get ahead of the game and start learning a new language in preparation? Want to be fluent in French, great at German, skilled at Spanish? Babbel can guide you through it all. Babbel is available as an app or online and teaches you real-life conversations. Lessons are created by real-life language experts, so you learn useful vocabulary and not meaningless phrases. And they've recently launched their own learning podcast as well, which means you can brush up on your learning that way too. So right now, Babbel is offering our listeners 6 months free with a purchase of a 6-month subscription with the promo code GRID. So go to babbel.co.uk/grid and use the promo code GRID on your 6-month subscription. That's Babbel, babbel.co.uk/play, promo code GRID. And have you spoken to someone like Seb Vettel? Because when you came into F1 in 2011, he was dominating everything, wasn't he? Has he given you any advice or how to deal with Helmut Marko? Because Helmut's some people might say he's a bit of a tough cookie.
Well, I think Helmut is another pure racer that he will just tell you straight away what he thinks, And
what sort of character are you? Can you deal with good and bad? You just like to be told it straight.
Yeah. I prefer that. I just love that, people straight and that tells you exactly what they think and vice versa. I think with Helmut, I've had 5 conversations in my life. We're just getting now to spend more time together, and he's actually quite a funny character. He's much more funny than he looks, you know. So when you spend time with him, he's just a pure racer, a racing driver that for him it's all about winning.
Did he ever try and get you on the Red Bull Young Driver program way back?
Yeah.
Did you have a conversation with him?
We did in 2007.
How did it go?
2007. I was invited through my program to do a test there. It didn't go well because when I tested, it was about testing there, and I didn't do well in the first.
So what car are you in?
F3.
Right.
But I had an issue with the seat because my knees were hitting the wheel, so I couldn't turn. So I was like quite far off the pace, and I thought that I was going to be able to sort out the seat and so on. And when I went back, I was just kicked out. You know, I didn't have an extra chance because of I was just being kicked out. I was too slow, and I was like, wow. I thought, no, it's all about lap time, and I was just kicked out. So then I think that was in 2007 or 6, and then I went into Formula 3. I was racing the Red Bull drivers. I was leading the championship, and I saw him at Silverstone. Helmut, how are you? We will beat you. We will beat you. He was telling me. So okay, have a nice day, Helmut. And the other conversation was once in GP2. When I was in GP2 at my first year with Christian, actually, after one good race I did in Silverstone, he came to me and said, "Hey, what you doing?" And so on. And he told me, "Well, you're doing right, but you have your own driver program. You don't need me." That was the final conversation that we had, that I remember.
Checo, because Helmut is so results-driven, do you feel actually it worked out for the best in that you're much better arriving in Formula One with Red Bull now with a decade of experience than you would have been as a rookie coming straight in? And we've seen what's happened to some of their young drivers in recent years.
I think who knows what will have happened, you know, with what opportunities I will have got. Definitely helps, you know, to be part of that junior program. But I just have to say that I'm extremely thankful to Matisic, to Helmut, Christian, Adrian, all the Red Bull family, because to give me this opportunity, it's something great. And as you say, it's they are driven by results, and no one before gave me the opportunity to be in a top car, you know. So I just have to make sure that I deliver now.
Now, as you say, you're renewing your relationship with Christian Horner, who you drove for in 2009 GP2. What are your memories of that year, first of all, that one with Christian back then?
With Christian, I've always had a good relationship. He's always very open, and even though my career took different directions, every time we met at the paddock, we always had a good chat. Yeah, I mean, with Christian, at the time, I think his dad was more running the team, who I also had a good relationship with. I only did 1 year with Adrian, and I remember that year was very difficult because I was I was not strong enough. They used to put a lot of caster in that Adrian. Adrian was very famous for that, you know, to have a very strong front end, and but they were running big caster loads. So the steering wheel, you have no idea how heavy it was. I remember my teammate was Mortara. He looked more like a body maker, you know, than a racing driver.
Perhaps that's what you needed to be.
I think I was 18-year-old, so I struggled so much that year, just physically, you know. At the races, I was totally destroyed. So it was pretty difficult in that regard. But we just had a good relationship together, and that worked well.
So you've stayed in touch throughout, obviously. How much has Christian changed? How much have you changed in the intervening period?
Well, I think we've changed both a lot, you know. We've spent a lot of time together since then. I think Christian has developed a lot, you know. He's a great leader for the team. His personality is very strong, and he's able to deal with it very, very strong. And same myself, you know. I think I'm more experienced. I've delivered over the years, and we are together in a great point of our careers.
I know you say this is the opportunity of your career, but you have been in a top team before, McLaren 2013. Can you explain to us why you think this is going to be better?
It just happens at a better time in my career, at a better point, and I think also the team is in a good momentum as well. So I just think that in general there is a lot of hope on that, and there is definitely good direction, and the team is solid. When I came to McLaren, I think it was probably the wrong time for the team as well. It was a year when everything went backwards. So in that regard, I don't think driving-wise I did bad. I mean, I outqualified Jenson there and so on. So I think in general it was a good stint, but there were all other political factors in it. So I just think right now it's a better.
It was kind of back then. It was kind of right team, wrong time, and here we are hoping that it's right team at the right time, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. That's a priority here, that we are just able to maximize, and I just don't see why it's not going to work.
And have you been told what your job is? Is it, Checo, you're winning races this year? What have they given you any understanding?
Winning.
Just winning.
Yeah. It's winning, and it's delivering weekend in, weekend out. That's the main priority.
I remember, I'm not going to mention his name, but I remember one of the former Red Bull drivers telling me that it's very, the performance bonuses are quite good. The results bonuses, the win bonuses.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you when I get them.
Right now, they told you yet?
Right now I haven't got any, so I'll let you know.
Yeah. Now, Checo, look, what's it been like at home? Last year was such an emotional year for you, wasn't it? I mean, can we just talk through it a little bit in that obviously, the pandemic hits and it's very difficult for everybody, of course, outside Formula One as well. But then we go back racing and you contract COVID. And can you just talk us through, can you remember how you felt, both physically and mentally? How difficult was it for you at that time?
It was very difficult, the roller coaster I had last year, getting COVID, being the first one, I was like the weird guy.
The fact that you were the first driver to get it, did you feel like the weird guy?
Yeah, because I think at the time Formula One thought that we were bulletproof to it, So I got a lot of criticism, and it was at a very critical time in my career, because it was a time where I was needed to be in the car because I was about to lose the drive. In the end, I lost the drive, and it was very late in the year, and there were very little opportunities there happening. So I just thought, look, it's not going to happen. I didn't have the desire to just carry on. I had other options, but I wasn't very keen to be in them. I wanted a project that motivates me to carry on. I was lucky to find it, and it worked out well. I went through a very different scenarios in my career. At some point I was just thinking that was it. That was it in my career, because as I say, I've been here 10 years and I felt that I've proven myself time after time, and I was not willing to go into any team just for the sake of going. And then as the season progressed, things developed well, and there were already some options for 22. So I say, well, if I'm not here on 21, I won't retire. I will wait a year and come back for 22. And then the Red Bull thing became very serious, and it actually happened. So it was just fantastic that it worked out.
We'll have more insight from Checo on what must have been a very difficult year in just a moment. But first, a message to help you at home understand how ExpressVPN can be a major asset in your daily lives, because privacy and security play a major factor in all of our lives, and it's equally important in our online lives as well when you're using the internet. ExpressVPN helps you ensure that your information isn't being passed on or sold to ad companies who might use it to tailor their ads to you. It creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet, so you can rest assured that you're browsing securely and safely. It's easy to use. All you need to do is fire up the app, click a button, and you're protected. And it works on everything: phones, laptops, even routers. I'm set up on all of my devices, so I know I'm covered while I'm traveling. So if, like me, you believe your online activity is your business, secure yourself by visiting expressvpn.com/grid today. Use my exclusive link, expressvpn.com/grid, and you can get an extra 3 months free. That's expressvpn.com/grid. Just to take you back to those 2 races you missed, they were Silverstone, and of course, given the strengths of the Racing Point last year, you know, on paper it looked like Silverstone was going to be the track for you guys. Must have made it even harder.
Yeah, it was. It was at a point as well where the Racing Point car was very competitive. We were like, Lance put a third the race before in Hungary, and we knew that it was going to be our strongest track, Silverstone. And also there was at a point where we were very solid. And yet to miss that race was very painful. But to miss both of them, it definitely ruined my championship and so on. But then you see, we didn't give up and we recovered. And look,
I can't remember, where were you for those 2 races? You were stuck in a hotel. Where you were in England, weren't you?
It's funny. It's good that you asked this question. I actually went to quarantine in Milton Keynes.
Near the Red Bull factory?
Yeah, I was like 5 minutes away from the Red Bull factory. I went to quarantine there.
What did you do? How long was it, 10 days?
Yeah. I kept training. I was in an apartment. I kept training and I kept working there. And
what sort of exercise? The tennis players before the Australian Open had to quarantine in Melbourne, and they were playing tennis, hitting the ball against the wall.
No, my room wasn't that big. Just a bit of weights, because mentally I was feeling like I need to be back. I'm going to be back very soon in the car. But when I went for a proper run, I really felt like, wow, this hit me harder than I thought.
So the lack of exercise?
Yeah, not the lack of exercise, the virus hit me harder than I thought it was going to hit me.
And did it affect your performance in the car when you came back?
Yeah, definitely.
Because people talk about long COVID, don't they?
Yeah.
When do you feel that you were back on form? 100%?
I think a race after Barcelona. I did Barcelona, and I think after Barcelona was 2 weeks, and we went to... What was after Barcelona?
It was Spa.
Yeah, I was back on physical form.
Yeah.
After that, but it hits you hard. To some people, hits harder, but yeah, it did hit me hard.
Yeah. And you mentioned things getting serious with Red Bull. At what point did you or your manager Julian Jacobi think it was getting serious?
Very much towards the end of the season, to be honest. It was just, as soon as all the seats were filled out, and Red Bull knew that I had nowhere to go, it was either Red Bull or taking a year out. I think they wanted to take their time, and they did that, and very late towards the end of the season.
Checo, I was given the impression that Turkey was a very significant race. Did you get that impression from the team as well?
No, I think it was race by race, to be honest. Every single race make an impression, an impact on them to make up their mind,
So then we finish the season. You win, of course, here, the Sakhir Grand Prix. You then return home to Mexico, not only as a Grand Prix winner for the first time, but as a Red Bull driver. Can you just describe the mayhem that took place when you landed in Mexico?
No, it was pretty exciting, because the fans over there were very enthusiastic, and for the people, it was a very proud moment for all my country, to put that flag on top after so many years was very special, and I was very pleased to see that so many people was so happy. It was a big moment for myself, for my family, but a big one also for my country.
What was the biggest story? You winning the race or you signing for Red Bull?
I think they both came together, and they came very close together as well. So I was on the news for a long period
Checo
of time.
for president, right?
I win the race, and then 2-3 weeks later, I was a Red Bull racing driver, and just was a lot of Checo at that time.
What about your dad, Antonio? Because he's been obviously such a supporter of yours, but he's so emotional. Isn't he, about when he watches you race? And what does this mean to him and to mum and dad and the family?
Yeah, it means a lot, for us to have made it. We've sacrificed as a family a lot. We've given a lot to the sport, and the sport has paid us back, And my dad did everything to support me, same as my mom. my brothers, they all live this career. And now my wife, my kids, it's a sport that you really need that support. And for me, I'm lucky to have their support.
Yeah, and wife Carola, is she coming to Europe? How are you are you doing anything differently this year? Are you going to be living in England more? Or?
No, look, we have a very unique times, now moving around the world, it's complicated. So we are obviously based in Europe, but with this moving around, we don't know what's going to happen in next week, So yeah, it's just nice to have them with me. We're gonna be spending more time in Europe, and we'll see what happens until summer break,
Are they in Europe already, or are they?
Yeah, they are. We came into Europe very early in the year.
Now, how has being a dad affected you as a racing driver?
It affects you in a way that when you are away for long periods of time, where before, if I was away 3 weeks, it's nice because I will be partying, in those 3 weeks, or just doing different things in those 3 weeks, or it didn't matter if it was a month or so. Now, if you are away for 2 weeks, you are like, oh, no, I need to be back with my family. I gotta see my kids and wife, of course. But
what's the pecking order there?
yeah. You want to get me in trouble, I see. No, just in general, I think that's the thing that I struggle with the most. If I don't see them like for 2 weeks, especially now that they're pretty young, it's the thing that hits me. And I just like my kid to watch me racing, because he gets excited now. He's 3-year-old. My daughter is 1, so they get excited when they see me.
I don't know if you've been asked this before, but does it in any way make you slower? Does it affect your motivation, your commitment, because you want to go back and see them? Do you interrupt an engineering meeting because you say, I've got to FaceTime the kids before they go to bed?
No, I mean, we are so professional, and I've been at this level. You know what you have to give to be good, to deliver. It's just that I find that in my case, I'm pretty lucky because I've managed to have a good balance, to have my good quality of time with my family when I'm with them, and to give the time that it requires to the team, the simulator, all the commitments that we have, it doesn't interfere with that. So, and that's important, it's an important point because there might be a point in my career where I say, I prefer just to be with my family, but then I think that's the point that you gotta retire, because if you don't give to the sport the time that it requires, then it's not going to work out,
And does the missus understand that? You understand that, but does she?
Yeah, they do. They do, and I'm lucky to have the support of my wife in that regard, because it's pretty hard for her also to spend 3 weeks or a month on her own with the 2 kids, But as I say, that's why it's a family work. My kids, they are doing their side, and my wife and my family. So we are all in this crazy world,
You are all in this crazy world, and of course your brother, the whole family loves racing. Are you going to be putting the kids through your kart track in Guadalajara?
Yeah. I will support them in whatever they want to do, I would love.
But are you going to point them in any direction?
Probably golfing.
Golfing?
Yeah. I like my kids to be a golfer, but I will just support him in whatever he wants to do.
Okay, now look, can we talk about Max Verstappen? You've now had the chance here at the Bahrain test to watch him up close. What have you learnt? What's the scale of the challenge ahead of Checo Perez this year with regards to your teammate?
Since I knew I was coming to Red Bull, I knew that I'm going to be facing a big challenge, which is Max. He's a very complete driver. I found no surprises, to be honest. I just found that he's a very strong driver all around, and that it's going to be a task, a big challenge on myself. But it's what I wanted, I want to measure against the best in the sport. So it's a great challenge and a great opportunity, and something that I'm looking so much forward. The way I see it is, I got absolutely nothing to lose, in my career. I've been lucky enough to have a fantastic career. So whatever comes next is great,
Checo sounds pretty confident about his new team and the year ahead, doesn't he? Well, 2021 is indeed looking up, which means there should be plenty of new opportunities for you to grow your business as well. Whether you're shifting business hours or hiring more remote employees, one thing that remains unchanged is the importance of having the right people on your team. Just ask Checo Perez. When you're ready to make that next hire, LinkedIn Jobs can help by matching your role with qualified candidates so that you can find the right person quickly. And to lend a helping hand, your first job post is free. You can manage job posts and contact candidates with ease. You can get help crafting your interview questions, and you can tap into an active community of professionals with more than 30 million members in the UK alone. So when your business is ready to make that next hire, find the right person with LinkedIn Jobs. And now you can post a job for free. Just visit linkedin.com/grid. Again, that's linkedin.com/grid to post a job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Right, let's get back to the final part of our chat with Checo. When you look at Max's data traces, what impresses you? Is he doing something that you haven't seen before with previous teammates? Let's talk about Ocon or the Hulk. Is there anything that stands out?
No. We haven't spent. Conditions have been so different in these couple of days for both of us. I haven't seen enough. He's driven with a track that is 10-15 degrees cooler at times and vice versa, and with the wind changing. I think in the first 3-4 races I will know more, but I can already see that he's a very fast, solid driver.
Yeah. And what's he like to deal with? Has he been helpful? Has he helped you get to know people? Do you hang out a bit?
He's just a very chilled guy. He's pretty no political things going around him. He just enjoys driving, and we've had good fun. In these couple of times that we've spent together.
Yeah, and have you done any media activity? Red Bull seems to do a lot of media activities with both of the drivers together. Have you done some stuff?
We've done a lot of stuff, actually. It's been a non-stop. We've spent like two days together doing stuff for media. And as I say, it's been just enjoyable. And Max is just a young guy that likes life, enjoys life, and get on with the driving.
Should Max be worried about you?
I don't see why he should be worried about me or why I should be worried about him. I think we both come here to do our best possible job and see where
I don't mean that in a
you.
political sense. I just that, because Max seems to have beaten all of his teammates that he's ever had in Formula One. So everyone's thinking, gosh, no one can beat Max. But actually, here's a new challenge for him.
I don't know. I think that's a question for him, but I don't think there's particularly...
Well, Checo, what's your greatest strength as a driver?
I think definitely I know that come Sunday I'm pretty strong on maximizing the weekend. There are drivers, I think, that are thinking more on the Saturday, try to be as high up in the order. But to me, when I come to the track on a Friday, I know that I'm already thinking for Sunday, It's a bit of a mindset of a direction set, but just in general, I think that's my strength.
You've always been fantastic at looking after your tyres. You've had 1.5 days. Well, you did a few tests, of course, at the end of last year, but the new compounds that Pirelli are bringing this year, do you think that will play to your strengths? I found myself looking ahead to this year, I must keep looking at where Checo is. Is he suddenly going to do a one-stopper and win the race? I've got to keep looking for you.
Who knows? We'll see how are the races in the first couple of races here in Bahrain. In the next ones, see what happens in that regard. I'm looking forward to the season.
But do you think with the tyres, your magic, you can still cast your magic over them, or do you think these new compounds will be a bit more durable and less heat sensitive?
No, I think there still are tire that you have to look after it, try to manage it, try to be doing the best possible stints you possibly can.
So, Checo, 2021, have you dared to dream? I don't want to say what is your goal because that seems unfair, but what can we expect? What would you be satisfied with if we sit down at the end of the year?
Maximizing my car performance. If we have a car to win the championship, to win the championship. As simple as that. I want to maximize the car potential, and if we have a car that was good enough to finish fourth, then to make sure I finish fourth.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like at the Mexican Grand Prix as you come into the stadium there? If you're winning the championship. Oh my goodness.
It's,
mental.
Christian was saying, we did an interview together the other day, and he was saying, like, we got so many home races this year. We have Silverstone, we have Austria, we have Japan, we have Sanford with Max, we have Mexico. So it's like a lot of home races for the team this year. So yeah, pretty excited. I just hope that once we get into those races, we're able to have our fans, our people back.
Well, it's going to be very exciting to see you in a Red Bull. So many people are looking forward to it. Look, final question from me. Last time we spoke on Beyond the Grid, you mentioned that you collect watches. How big is the collection now? Got any new ones?
I think the last time I bought a watch was when I got married for my wedding.
How many watches have you got?
Like 20 watches. I just feel that they're nice because, it's something that you keep. It reminds you the moment, Yeah, I haven't bought any watches. It's a good reminder, actually.
Now, look, you got to tell me, what is the secret about? I remember Murray Walker, God bless him, who passed away just yesterday, didn't he? But I remember him saying, all watches tell the time. What is it about watches?
Well, depends the way you see it. But for me, it's special every time that something happens in my life that I would like to remember. I bought a watch, and every watch has a meaning for me.
Did you buy a watch at the birth of each of your children?
I bought a watch for my first kid. To buy for the second one, I have watch for like my first ever salary in my life, so that means a lot.
You got your first ever salary and blew it all on a watch.
Yeah, exactly. That it was actually how it was, That's how much I like watches.
Yeah. Any other quirky collections, just while we're talking about?
No, I think that's the only one. Yeah, that's pretty much the only one.
And it seems to me that the Formula One paddock does bets between drivers and team bosses now. Of course, Cyril Abiteboul and Daniel Ricciardo and the tattoo last year. I think Daniel's going to have a bet with Zach Brown at McLaren this year. Anything between you and Christian?
No, we haven't got into it. I think we got to do something at some point. But by the way, did Cyril got his tattoo?
Well, I don't know.
Because he's gone now, and we need to find him.
The lengths he went to not have a tattoo.
The F1 community should do something on that and bring Cyril back.
I think Cyril will be back. Surely he's too good not to. But I think Daniel has assured everybody that Cyril will get his tattoo. But hey, well look, Checo, I've kept you for long enough. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck this year, and hey, we're all really excited.
Thank you, mate.
So what do you reckon? If he's got the car underneath him this year, will Checo win races and challenge for the World Championship? As he said himself, I see no reason why Red Bull can't work out for him. And the RB16B looked really sharp in testing. All of the issues with last year's car look to have been ironed out. Checo gave us some wonderful insights. I particularly enjoyed his description of Adrian Newey and how he says Adrian thinks like a racing driver when he's engineering a car. That is an intra-team partnership that could blossom within Red Bull this year, as could his relationship with Helmut Marko. And how many drivers have been able to say that over the years? Checo, thanks for your time. As ever, it was great to chat. And all of us here at Beyond the Grid wish you the best of luck for the season ahead. And if you want to hear more from Checo and Red Bull, they talk bull on their own podcast, if you see what I mean. Check it out. Before we move on from Checo, I've actually got a call to arms because I'd love to hear your best Checo stories or memories. Whether you've met him, watched him at a race, or just follow him on TV, send in your anecdotes and I'll share my favourites on next week's show. My Twitter handle is @TomClarksonF1, or you can use the hashtag F1BeyondTheGrid. Well, that's it for episode 1. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please join me next week as the excitement continues to build ahead of the new Formula One season, when I'll be chatting to another stellar guest from the pit lane. Beyond the Grid is produced by F1 in association with Audio Boom. Until next time, keep it flat out.